Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego, and it's time for a surprise live stream. It's your surprise K1 Visa Green Card live stream. Today is January the 24th, 2025. It is 10:33 a.m. Central Time, and I decided to jump on the channel for you. Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela, she is at work. She got her green card back in June of last year. We went through the K1 visa process just like you guys. I'll go through the K1 visa process, and I'm here to help you. I've got 10 years experience processing green cards and K1, spousal visas, tourist visas. 10 years is a long time. I've helped hundreds of people get their green card and their K1 visa. And right now there's a lady that lives in the other town across from us. She wants me to help her dad file a K1 visa for his fiance in Guatemala. So I'm going to put the K1 visa package together for her. She's going to do all the work, getting all the documents and all the stuff I need, and I'm going to process it for her. And she said, "Well, how much is that going to cost?" It's going to cost me. She said an immigration attorney says they want $4,000, and these other companies they want all this money. I said, "I'll do it for free. I'm going to reunite this family, this from Guatemala." So that's good news, right? So I'll be doing that. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps my mind sharp. But I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you any legal advice. I don't work for USCIS, which I don't know. I think maybe USCIS should hire me because I know exactly how to do this. I can file a green card application and a K1 visa application in my sleep. I know all the ins and outs, the ups and downs, and the roundabouts. Okay, and the objective of this channel is to help you get yours without having to pay out all those crazy fees. Now, I'm not saying an immigration attorney does a bad job. They don't do a bad job for the most part. They do a good job. But you don't want to put your green card application or your K1 visa application or spousal visa in the hands of a third party. You, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, need to take responsibility for your beneficiary, not an immigration attorney, not one of these companies that charge you money to put this paperwork together. The paperwork is easy. Now, good news is that President Trump notified the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, who notified USCIS that you no longer need a COVID vaccination to apply for your green card. You no longer need a green card application. You don't need a COVID shot for your green card application, effective yesterday. Now, I was on a live stream a couple of days ago, and I said, I think Trump's going to abolish the COVID vaccination, but not the medical exam. And as always, I was exactly correct, because on the 22nd of January, 2025, I said Trump's going to eliminate the COVID vaccination. And on the 23rd of January, he did. Now, F. Pejo's on the live stream. What's going on, F. Pejo? Got 3 big hearts right there with stars. How is your family? And Vimy Lola is on the live stream. Hello, Diego. What's going on, Vimy? How are you? Now, Karina's at work. It's 10:37 a.m. Central Time, and Karina's at work. So I said, okay, instead of me just doing nothing, I'm going to jump on here and do a live stream for you guys. If you have any questions that you need answered today or right now regarding green card applications or K1 visas or spousal visas, ask me the questions. I know the answer. Okay, 99% of the time I know the answer. I got this new poster right here. Let me see it. If you can see it, I put this right there. There we go. I got these new alien posters. I love this stuff, this extraterrestrial stuff. I think I'm going to take Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela. I'll take her to Nevada and take her drive up to Rachel, Nevada, go eat a hamburger at the Little Alien, and maybe take her to the back gate of Area 51. I don't know. Well, who knows? And I got right here, over here, I got the Venezuelan flag and the American flag. Vimy Lola, I'm still waiting to gather information and documents, so I haven't applied for my green card yet until I receive my social security number and joint bank accounts. Well, you're going to get a Mountain Dew salute because you're paying attention to class. That's exactly the right thing. You don't apply for your green card until you have proof of joint bank ownership and the social. No, it's not a problem. The only time it would be a problem is if you didn't get married within 90 days. If you look at the I-94, the form I-94, no, it's not going to be a problem with Trump. Trump is not going to stop you from coming to the United States or getting your green card as long as you do it legally. Now, if you want to talk about President Trump just abolished the requirement. He just abolished the requirement for a COVID vaccination. President Biden said, you got to have a COVID vaccination to get a green card application. You got to have a COVID vaccination to fly to Colombia. I got stuck in Colombia because I didn't have it, because of that communist. But Trump came into office, and I promised you guys that he would eliminate the need for a COVID vaccination, and he did. Yes, on the 23rd, yesterday. So if you go to the USCIS website and type in COVID, you're going to see that there is no longer a requirement for a COVID booster shot or vaccinations. So if you submit your green card today and you don't include your COVID vaccination in your vaccination records, you're good. You're not going to get an RFE. You're not going to get an NOID, which is a notice of intent to deny. You're not going to get any of that. Okay? If you watch the videos I just made, or the videos I've made over the past, you can learn how to adjust the status for a green card. You're going to learn how to apply for a K-1 visa. And I'll refresh the videos, as the months go by, maybe this month, next month, I'll make new videos, okay, on how to apply for a K-1 visa, or you can just jump on the live stream. If you know how to do it already, just come on here and I'll answer the questions you're not quite sure of. And Vimy Lola, thank you, Diego. No problem. You need to thank Trump. President Trump just got rid of that COVID vaccination, like I said he would. Shiku Dumbaya, good morning, Diego. Good morning, Shiku. How are you? How is your family? How's your daughter? How's everything? Now, if you hear any cat noises, I got Vinny the cat right here running around the office. There she is. She's jumping over here, jumping over there. If I close the door, and she's going to scratch to come in. So I just let her in. No doubt she's going to scratch to want to go out. Then I'll have to get up and let her out. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about green cards. S. Bay, top of the morning, Diego. Well, that's a great Irish salutation. Top of the morning, S. Bay. Are you from Irish roots, by the way? Because it's Irish, right? Top of the morning. Is that an Irish slang? I don't know. I think it is. But I took Karina to eat in an Irish restaurant last week. And I took her to eat at the Maguire's Irish Pub, which is a restaurant. And she ate the grilled fish, and it was great. Can you hear Vanny crying? The Vanny's starting. She's talking to Rambo, the cat in the garden. Maru, good morning, Diego. What's going on, Maru? Now, how's everybody doing? Shiku, I got an update on my USCIS online card. What card was produced today? Okay. Are you talking about your work permit was produced today or your green card was produced today? Everybody's like wondering what kind of card you got produced. Now, I will tell everybody that your green card was produced, if it was your green card or your work permit, we don't know. Tell everybody which. Your I-765. So your work permit. It gets produced in Corbin, Kentucky. Corbin, Kentucky make green cards and the work permits, and they mail them. They will send it to your house in a trackable manner using the United States Postal Service. Now, I don't recommend using the United States Postal Service for when you file for your green card or for when you file for your K-1 visa. There's Vinny, look. They said the card was produced. Right. Lockheed Martin is the company that USCIS contracted out to create the work permits and the green cards. So the card was produced that means you should get it in about 2 weeks. A week, maybe a week to 2 weeks. Okay? And it's going to be coming to you in the mail via a trackable US Postal Service trackable process. Okay? Shiku, so you're good to go. Look, Vanny's looking at the flying saucers. She wants to get abducted. S. Bay, oh no, I'm not Irish, but the Irish pub sounds like an ideal outing. Well, we went there for, there are two Irish pubs in this neck of the woods. Was one in Pensacola and there's one in Destin, Florida. And I took her to the one in Destin, Florida. And she had the grilled fish and was it? No, we had to have Coke. They didn't sell Mountain Dew in that restaurant. But I got Mountain Dew here. So I'm good. Shiku, week to 2 week is long time. Shiku, just be glad that it got approved. Be glad that it is that your card is being produced. Be positive and be thankful. Okay? Say thank you, immigration, for approving my green card and your work permit at this point. Thank you, immigration, for producing it. 2 weeks is a very long time. They said the card is already produced. Yeah, the card is produced, but they got to process it and mail it to you. Okay? So give them a week to get to you, at least a week. All right? Let's do this. I'm going to put some mega pixie dust all over your work permit so it gets here in the next week. Today's what? Friday? Tomorrow. So nothing's going to happen over the weekend. So let's say by next Friday, the mega pixie dust is going to say it's going to be in your hands by next Friday. How about that? Is that good? And then a Mountain Dew salute on top of that. How about that? That stuff works. This channel has got all kinds of ways to help you get your green card and your work permit. 2 weeks isn't very long. How long did you wait for the green card application? Karina waited 22 months. My wife, Karina from Venezuela. It took 22 months to get her K1 visa approved. But when she got it approved and she got into the United States and we got married, she got her green card in 3 months and 2 weeks. And she got a work permit in about a month or 5 weeks. So it was pretty quick. But then immigration was starting to lose people. It's not a very fun job being at USCIS, I'm pretty sure. It's a very stressful job because you are dealing with people's lives. You're making decisions on whether somebody can stay or whether somebody has to go. So not everybody sticks around in USCIS. They go find other jobs. So now immigration has to go find new people and train them and hire them, which they do, and things will speed back up again. So it's good news, Shiku, that your work permit is produced. Now you just got to wait for it to come to your house. Shiku, thank you, Diego. Now only the I-485. It took my friend 4 months. Yeah, well, let's hope it takes you less. It took Karina 3 months and 2 weeks. It all depends on the workload at USCIS, and it all depends on how many employees they have. You know, it's like you go to Disney World in the middle of winter, and it's cold, and it's not during the Christmas break, and there's not a bunch of people there, so you can get in line to ride the rides a lot quicker than if you go in July when all the children are on vacation, right? It all depends on how busy it is and how many people they have. So I'm going to bring Karina to Disney World. She said she wants to go to Disney World. And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. And then I looked online and they're closing a lot of the rides down. Animal Kingdom, this ride's closing, that ride's closing. This is going to be under maintenance. This ride's being disestablished. I'm like, what the heck? So I talked to Karina. I said, you want to go to Disney World when they're getting rid of rides and they're closing down rides and they're doing maintenance? She said, no. I said, I don't either. So we're going to go when Disney World is back fully operational. So that's in the plans. But I'm definitely going to take Karina to Nevada on vacation. We want to not just Las Vegas. We're going to stay in Las Vegas, but we're not going to, stay in Las Vegas for the vacation. We're going to explore Nevada from that point. And I want to take her to San Diego, not California. I know California, the price of gas is horrendous, and Governor Newsom is a complete incompetent idiot. But we're not going there for the government. I'm just going to go there for some friends who are in the military for a reunion. So I'll take Karina to that, and we'll make videos and pictures of the trip to Nevada and the videos and pictures of the trip to California. And all that information is going to go, not the videos, but the pictures and the boarding tickets, the plane tickets, and the hotel receipts copies of everything is going to go in her 10-year green card application because we're making trips together. So Karina's pretty excited about going to Las Vegas and going to Nevada and also going to San Diego. We're not going to go to Los Angeles. That place right now under Governor Newsom's leadership and the mayor is a total disaster. So we're going to avoid LA, but we'll definitely go and visit our friends in San Diego. Now, Chico, it took your friends only 4 months to get their green card. Well, it's averaging 6 to 9 months. That's the average, 6 to 9 months. So if you haven't got your green card yet and you've been waiting 5, 6 months, it's okay. You're still in the window. You're not out of status. You only get out of status if you don't marry within 90 days. The I-94 says you got to get married within 90 days. So you get married within 90 days and you're in status, no matter how long it takes to get the green card. Now, Vanny, hold on a second. The cat is playing with the microphone. I got 2 microphones. I'm not using this one, but Vanny decided it's her toy now, the cat. S-Bay, with the COVID vaccine not being a requirement for the green card, is it still a requirement for the biometric stage of the K1 and coming to the U.S.? No. Vanny, I don't use this thing. I make videos with it, but the cat just wants to play with this. So I had to move it. No, you don't need a COVID vaccination at all to come to the United States. You don't need a COVID vaccination for the scary visa interview at the embassies around the world. You don't need a COVID vaccination for your green card. You don't need a COVID vaccination, period, unless you just want to get it because you like getting shots. Okay? So it's not required anywhere for any part of the visa process. Now, on the USCIS website, it's going to say for green card applications, but it's not required for the K1 visa interview at the embassy or the consulate. Don't worry about it. It's done. Trump said he said he's going to get rid of that mandatory requirement. I don't know. It was about a year ago. I think it was about a year ago, and he did yesterday. Okay, so that's good news, right? It's one less thing you got to get stuck injected into your body. So now you can just get the regular vaccines, which are proven to be good and haven't hurt anybody, as long as you don't have any allergies to such a thing. Now, if you're like pregnant and you're a beneficiary, then the civil surgeon will make the decision on whether you should get the vaccinations or not. If you get to America and you're pregnant, you must repeat the medical exam. You must recertify your vaccinations, okay? But if you don't have them all done yet, you need to have the civil surgeon write a note on the 693 saying that you're pregnant and you've been away from whatever vaccines. But that's up to the civil surgeon. He or she controls the medical side of everything, all right? December of last year, it was mandatory that you have a medical exam when you get to America. Even if you had your medical exam done, like Karina, she had her medical exam in Bogota, Colombia. It cost me about $400 and some. Plus, she got an extra. She was missing a vaccination, so that was $25. When she got to the United States, we repeated the vaccinations, and we didn't repeat the vaccinations. We repeated the medical exam, and we recertified the vaccinations. Okay, so she gets to the United States. I set an appointment for her with a civil surgeon authorized by the U.S. State Department to have medical exams for green cards. And we got it done. It took, I just had to drive her to the appointment. They looked at her vaccination records and they said, you're complete on your vaccinations. They did the medical exam on her. They gave her a 693. The doctor signed it. They put it in an envelope. They sealed it. And that went in Karina's K1 green card application. Her green card application. She came in on a K1 visa. Okay. If you get married within 90 days, you're in status. When you land in America, the K1 visa becomes obsolete, and now you're working off of an I-94. The I-94 is substituted for the K1 visa. So the K1 visa is the U.S. Embassy says in, say, Colombia, you can fly to America and get married. The I-94 says you got to get married within these 90 days or you're out of status. Thus, the K1 visa is no longer irrelevant. You got it? It's an easy process. And the paperwork for putting together this K1 and this green card application is not difficult. It just means you got to pay attention to detail. People make mistakes because they can't spell. If you fill out a K1 visa application and you spell your beneficiary's name wrong, then it's going to come back to you because it's not going to match the passport. So you take your beneficiary's passport or the copy of the biographic page, Mr. Sponsor, Ms. Sponsor, and you put your fiance's name in the K1 visa application, I-129F, from the name in the passport. Her date of birth, his date of birth. Because the I-129F information has got to match the birth certificate and it's got to match the passport. So let's suppose you're in a country where they have like 1 million names, like Karina. She had like her 4 names because she takes her dad's last name and her mom's last name, her middle name, her first name, now my name. Okay, but you got to pay attention to detail. The people forget to sign the I-129F. People forget to sign the I-864, the affidavit of support. Let me give you the difference between the financial documents. When you go to the K1 visa interview, you got to have a declaration of financial support filled out and signed by the sponsor. That's the I-134. When you get to the United States, the sponsor has to fill out an affidavit of support, USCIS form I-864. So for the embassy interview, you got to have an I-134. For the green card, you got to have an I-864. For the visa, you got to be at 100% plus of the minimum income requirements. For the green card, you got to be at 125%. Why is that? Well, the K1 visa is a non-immigrant temporary visa to get you access to America. That's it. So you've only got to be at 100% of the minimum income. But when you apply for the green card, you're now applying for an immigrant status. You got to be at 125% plus. Vinny, the cat, is now playing with the blinds. I took the microphone away. Now she's playing with the blinds. Let's see here. Bambone One, hello Diego. I do Uber and I was wondering if I can get approval for my I-134. Yeah, as long as your income is above the minimum requirements. The I-134 is the declaration of financial support. If you are, and it all depends on your family size. Let me write it in here. Okay, family size, right here. Family size. That's critical on a K1 visa green card application. If you are a family of 2, a family of 3, a family of 4, how big is your family? That determines how much money you got to make. If you live in Hawaii or Alaska, you got to make even more money. Okay? So you're going to be fine if you are an Uber driver if you're an Uber driver, you're good. Just as long as your income is above and beyond the minimum requirements for a minimum 2-family income. It depends on how big your family is. And if you live in Hawaii or Alaska. If you live in Hawaii or Alaska, you got to make more money. S-Bay, the regular vaccines are fine, but just wanted to clarify since the good news of COVID vaccine. Right, you don't have to have a COVID vaccine for any more immigration processing. K1s, green cards, citizenship, 10-year green, none of it. So upon arrival after the interview approval, we wouldn't be asked for COVID vaccination for proof of the green card application. Nope, not at all. You're going to arrive in America and the Border Patrol, Customs and Immigration will greet you, welcome you to America, and process your I-94. Now, hold on a second, guys. I got to let this cat out. Look. Vinny, what? Look. Say hi and say bye. There you go. You don't need a COVID vaccination to enter the United States of America. The Border Patrol officer is just going to open up that packet and process the I-94. Maybe you get a few questions, but the number one thing they're going to tell you is don't forget to to adjust your status for the green card. Okay? S-Bay. The worst question that you will get probably is don't forget that you got to apply for the green card. You got to get married within 90 days. They're going to say, don't forget to get married in 90 days. They're going to say, keep copies of all your documents for when you apply for the green card. But you don't need COVID vaccinations for a green card application or for the K1 visa. It's all gone. Trump said he'd get rid of it, and he did. Now, when Trump says something, when Trump says he's going to do something, and I believe what he's going to say, because when he was president before, everything he said, he did. Now, he did sign an executive order to try to eliminate birthright citizenship. Okay, well, that was basically just to get everybody's attention, because the 14th Amendment isn't going to let him abolish birthright citizenship. The 14th Amendment of the Constitution says, if you're born in America, you're American. Even though it doesn't say anything in there about your parents have to be American or one of them has to be American. Although what Trump is probably doing is he's trying to bring attention to this to the Congress of the United States. You know, the executive order is not going to work, and he's going to get sued by all these communist, attorney generals that happen to be in office right now. Okay, but I think what Trump wants for this is what I think Trump wants to do is change the 14th Amendment to where at least one parent is a U.S. citizen if your child is born in the United States. Okay, at least one parent has to be a U.S. citizen, but it doesn't say that in the 14th Amendment, so it's not going to go anywhere. But he's going to bring it to he's made everybody look up the 14th Amendment, including me, right? Including you. But Mountain Dew salute to everybody, because we want to make sure you get your green cards and your K1 visas approved. And I'm doing a surprise live stream. It's January the 24th, 2025, and it's 11 o'clock in the morning. I already had a little lunch, so I'm not hungry. I got the Mountain Dew, and I got the MAGA pixie dust, so we're good. And now Vinny the cat has left the office, so I can get some peace and quiet. She's a good cat, but she just loves to play, and that's normal. So what questions do we have? Are you having difficulties with anything in regarding to filling out paperwork? Do you have a question on what X you need to put, what box you have to check with an X? Or don't forget, when you fill out the K1 visa application or the green card paperwork, if it doesn't pertain to you, put NA. Okay, like page 6 of USCIS form I-134 is the I-134, the Declaration of Financial Support, is filled out by the sponsor. Page 6 is if you're coming to the United States on an H-1, B-1 visa, etc. So it's gonna be irrelevant. You're gonna put NA on page 6. So out of the 10 pages on the I-134, page 6 is irrelevant to the beneficiary and the sponsor. But it does ask for the beneficiary's contact information. If you want to put it in there, you can. But other than that, you put NA. The beneficiary does not sign the I-134. The sponsor does. The only time a beneficiary will sign the I-134 is if the beneficiary is applying for a tourist visa. So if you want to come to the United States as a tourist, you come on over. You fill out you fill out the DS 160. You pay the visa fee, the consular fee. Okay, you go to your biometrics, and you got to show proof of how much money you got in the bank and how much money you make and all that jazz. Then you fill out page 6. Okay, because you are applying for a tourist visa. But when a sponsor is applying for a K1 visa for a beneficiary, he or she fills out the I-134, not the beneficiary. And the sponsor signs the I-134, not the beneficiary. Don't forget to sign. When you sign your name on any immigration form, you got to sign your full name. Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, beneficiaries, first name, middle name, last name. Okay? And you do it in cursive, your best cursive, because immigration need to be able to read the signature. If you sign a form like I sign my stuff like just a scribble, you can't do that with immigration paperwork. It will come back to you. We can't read your signature. So just pretend you're back in 10th grade and that you're practicing your best cursive and you sign your paperwork, full name, so immigration can read it. That's important information. Immigration attorneys don't tell you this stuff. They collect the money. They want that $5,000, but do they take the time to explain the little details to you? They just tell you, "Give me your stuff and I'll fill out your paperwork," and that's it. And you don't learn a freaking thing. And then if the immigration attorney makes a mistake, guess what? It's your fault, Mr. Sponsor. You're responsible for your beneficiary. Don't hire anybody to do this. Do it yourself. I will help you. Terrence Tembibo. Hello, Diego. Hello, Diego. Hope you are doing well and healthy. Always well and healthy. Always. So far, anyway. I'm pretty sure the warranty has run out on my body. The warranty ran out years ago, but I don't seem to get sick. Other when I was in Bogota, Colombia, I was pretty sick because of the high mountains and the altitude and the cold weather. So I was not sick because I was sick. My body was just telling me, "Hey, dude, you need to get down to sea level because it's too. You don't need to be at 10,300 feet. You need to be at beach level." So Corinne and I would take lots of vacations in Colombia. We went to Cucuta. We went to Santa Marta. We went to Cartagena. We went to Villa de Leyva. We went to Chauachi. I tried to get as much as time as I could below sea level or at sea level. Terrence, here in Nigeria with my fiance to travel back to the United States by February. Well, Mountain Dew salute. Why are you waiting until February to get on a plane? Why not leave this weekend? Why not leave Sunday? You got your K1 visa and your passport, right? Get on a plane and come to the United States. Karina got her K1 visa and she had her scary visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota on November 16th of 2024. She got her scary K1 visa interview at the embassy in Bogota on November 16th, 2023. Then she got 221G because they wanted an Interpol police certificate because she was a Venezuelan who was a legal resident of Colombia. They just wanted to make sure she doesn't live anywhere else other than Venezuela and Colombia. That took a month to get. So she got her K1 visa approved on November 16th of 2023. She got the Interpol police certificate on December 16th, 2023. So we said, okay, we'll just stay for Christmas. We got one more Christmas in Colombia. And then we left for the United States on January 3rd, 2024. So, we left as soon as we could to get from Colombia to here. Shiku, Dumbaya, Diego, card was produced, okay. It's in Corbin, Kentucky. But up to now, I have not received the approval notice. That is weird. The approval notice should have arrived at least. Shiku, if your card was produced, all you got to do now is wait for the card to show up in the mail. I wouldn't even worry about waiting for any approval notices. Just wait for the card. You're going to get it. You're going to get your work permit by next Friday. How about that? Does that sound like a plan? Remember, it's going to come to you in a U.S. Postal Service, what do they call it? Approved tracking. You're going to be able to track that letter because it's critical. It's very sensitive. It's a government document, right? So you're going to be able to track the letter when it gets mailed to you. Do you have informed delivery? Let me write it in here. Informed delivery. Go onto the U.S. Postal Service website, USPS website, and sign up for informed delivery. So what is informed delivery? Well, informed delivery is whenever mail's coming to my house, okay, I look here on my Gmail and I get an email. Bing, I get an email. I look at the email and it says, this letter's coming to your house by today. Okay. I'm like, okay. So what did I do today? I checked my email and I've got a letter coming. I ordered a bunch of Nancy Reagan stamps. Christopher told me to buy a whole sheet of these stamps right here. They're Nancy Reagan stamps, okay? And here they are. So I just bought a whole new sheet, and I'm not going to open it. I'm going to put the Nancy Reagan stamps in the drawer, and I'm going to forget about them. And in 20 years from now, that'd be worth some money, right? But I know they're here. I know they're on the way to the mailbox, because in informed delivery, they sent me an email saying they're on the way. Shiku, I have Diego. I just opened the account yesterday. Well, then that's a Mountain Dew salute to Shiku, because you have informed delivery. It's a good thing to have that. If you want to know what mail's coming to your house, sign up for informed delivery, and you will get a email telling you. They're going to scan a picture of the letter that's coming to your house. So if you're waiting for an NOA1 letter, let's suppose you just filed for a K1 visa, and you're waiting for the NOA1 letter, Notice of Action 1 letter. If you have informed delivery, you're going to know it's on the way before it even gets to your house. You're going to get an email from the post office saying, boom, this letter's coming to your house. And it's going to say USCIS, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to know, boom, there you go. NOA1 letter's on the way. NOA2 letter's on the way. Green card's on the way. Work permit's on the way. S-Bay, after the visa interview approval, how long does one have before they must leave to the USA? 6 months from the date of the medical exam. 6 months. 6 months. 6 months. I'll write it from the date of the medical exam. So Karina, my wife from Venezuela, my beautiful wife from Venezuela, she had her medical exam on November 9th or 8th of 2023. That's when the clock started for her K1 visa. Okay. So from, let's say, the 9th of November of 2023, she had 6 months to use her K1 visa. She hadn't even gone to the interview yet. The interview wasn't until November 16th. And then she got an 221G because she needed an Interpol police certificate. So that added another month. So that's 6 weeks gone right there. Okay. So from when Karina got her K1 visa in her passport, okay, 6 weeks had already passed on the time. Oh my God, itchy nose. 6 months from the date of the medical exam. Okay. You cannot enter the United States of America on a expired medical exam. And the medical exam is only good for 6 months. Okay. Let's suppose you got your medical exam in June. Let's suppose in June of 2025, you had your medical exam. And then in August of 2025, you had the K1 visa interview 2 months before. So you've already lost 2 months off of the 6 months on the K1 visa. Do you see what I'm saying? Let me see. So you got 6 months S-Bay from the date of the medical exam before you must leave the United States. But Corinne and I, we love Colombia. I mean, it's a beautiful country and beautiful people, but I just could not deal with that being at 10,300 feet above sea level, and it was cold and rainy and all that jazz. So I was just glad to get out of Bogota, not because I didn't like the city. It's a beautiful place to live. I lived there for almost 3 years. I just didn't handle the climate and the altitude. Okay. But it is what it is. Shiku, my wife received enough mail than me, but I received notice today of much mail I don't, which is mine. My wife had. Okay, so your family has a lot of mail coming to your house. Okay. It's going to show up in informed delivery. Even the commercials, even all that stuff you throw in the trash, that's just irrelevant to your family. Somebody's trying to sell you something, you know, it's all going to show up on the informed delivery. But what you should do is, Shiku, is any mail that you get mailed to you, keep it and put it in your 10-year green card application. Oh no, you've already sent it in, right? No, you've applied for your 2-year. You need to start saving up mail for your 10-year green card application, which will be in 2 years from the issue date of your current green card when it comes in the mail. Terrence, we want to enjoy her country a little bit before she travels to the United States. Terrence, I agree. It's a wonderful experience to enjoy the country together. I lived in Colombia with Karina for close to 3 years. I mean, I'm not a permanent resident of Colombia. I was flying back and forth, and then the Colombian immigration let me legally stay in Colombia for a year with a Colombian scheduler. I did not want to become an illegal immigrant in Colombia because they would have thrown me in jail if I did. That's the consequences of being an illegal immigrant. You got to follow the law. So I respected the law of Colombia, their immigration laws, and I filed all the paperwork and got permission to live in Colombia for 12 months. So I wasn't separated from Karina. The immigration laws in Colombia are strict. If you leave Colombia late, let's suppose you go to Colombia on a tourist visa, okay, you take a vacation. A tourist visa is good for 90 days. If you overstay the tourist visa in Colombia, let's suppose in by 2 weeks, you forgot the expiration date. You were having such a wonderful time in the jungles of Colombia, you forgot. You'll be fined a significant amount of money, okay, for violating the immigration laws of Colombia. It's a big fine. So if you're going to be in Colombia as a tourist, going to visit your beneficiary, your beautiful Colombian fiance, okay, follow the immigration laws. Respect the immigration laws of Colombia because they're very strict. The United States finally has restored its strict immigration laws. Thank goodness for that. So you come to America legally, you're good to go. You get your green card, you're good to go. Nobody's going to bother you. Just don't sneak across the border, because with President Trump, he's going to deport you if you sneak in. So Terrence, what country are you going to enjoy with your fiance? Remind everybody. I try to remember everybody's country of residence and origin and where you guys are located. I try the best I can to remember where everybody's at. But sometimes I forget. But I won't forget that Mountain Nomads, he's in Morocco. And Francois Livingston is in upstate New York. And Denise Jefferson, she's in Utah. And Josias from Argentina, he's in Utah. I try to remember where you guys are located so I can help you. So you may need the address you may want to know, where do I mail my green card application to? I can give you the address. I just need to know what state you live in America. I don't need to know what city, just what state. So if you are getting ready to mail off a green card application for a 2-year CR1, conditional residency green card, and you don't know where to mail it, tell me and I'll give you the address. I'll write it right here. Just make sure you have a pen handy. So then that way you don't have to be hunting around for the address. When you file, but it's when you file for the 10-year green card application, there's only one place it goes to, and that's Elgin, Illinois. Okay? So if you're getting ready to mail in your 10-year green card application, let me know, and I'll give you the address. It goes to one place. But don't forget, before you mail in your K-1 visa to Louisville, Texas, before you mail off your green card application or your 10-year green card application, make sure you make a complete copy of everything that you send to immigration, because sometimes they happen to lose stuff. Oops, like Larry Piercy in Florida. They lost his 864, the affidavit of support. They sent him an RFE for his 864. He said, wait a second, I sent it to you in my green card application for my wife. They don't have it. I know he sent it because I reviewed his green card application. I went through it, and immigration lost it. So they had to redo the 864 and they resent it. Okay? So make a copy of everything before you send it in. So that way you got a backup in case something gets lost. It's especially important for the K-1 visa application. For the K-1 visa application, you want to make 2 copies of the original application. You put your green card, your K-1 visa package together to mail off to Louisville, Texas. You make 2 copies. One for you in America, Mr. Sponsor, Ms. Sponsor, and one for your beneficiary. So I made a copy of the K-1 visa application. I put it in my carry-on. I flew to Colombia to be with Karina, and I gave her the package. I said, here's everything I sent to immigration. And she set it on the bed. She's looking through it, so she knows what's in the K-1 visa package. She studied the I-129F. When you go to the scary visa interview, the immigration officers, the consular officers, can ask you questions off the I-129F, the application. So it's very important that your beneficiary knows what you put in the I-129F, right? They asked Karina, do I have a brother? Well, yeah, I got a brother. What's his name? Well, Karina knows who my family. She knows who my family is. And so she said, oh, his name's this. Okay. And where do you live? Where are you going to live in the United States, Karina? What's your address in the United States? She gave her the address. She told immigration in Bogota, Colombia, the complete address, including the zip code. They're like, wow, you even know the zip code. When you prepare for the K-1 visa interview at the embassy, make sure your beneficiary studies the I-129F that you submitted to immigration, because they pull questions off of there for the interview. Make sure that you maintain contact with your beneficiary. Don't go a week without calling or talking to her because you're busy. Get unbusy, because immigration at the embassy may want to see a track record of communication between you and your beneficiary. I had 1,000 printouts of our WhatsApp chats, 1,000, going over, 3 years. It was almost, actually. And there was absolutely no question and no doubt in the mind of immigration that this was a legitimate relationship. We've been together for almost 3 years, and now we're going into our second year of marriage. And Karina's 10-year green card package is like this thick already. Keep collecting the evidence. Terrence is in Nigeria, so you're going to go to Lagos, right? I think the embassy is in Lagos, Nigeria. That's where you're going to go for your visa interview, your consular interviews in Lagos, I believe. If I'm wrong, then correct me right here, but I think that's the place. And it's nice and warm there, right? The weather's beautiful and the weather's nice. You're not getting snowed in. The snow here is beginning to melt. It's 45 degrees outside. We had this massive snowstorm blow in through the panhandle of Florida, the first time in 130 years. And I don't know if you can see in the video right here, you can see the water dripping off the blinds from the outside where all the snow is melting off the roof of the house. I mean, I've been in Florida for 42 years, and I've never seen anything like this snowstorm ever. Although I must say I spent, time in the military, I've never seen anything like this. In 130 years, we've never been like this. So the government here wasn't prepared for the snowstorm. So basically everything shut down. My wife said, why is the Navy base closed? I said, because of the snowstorm. And she said, well, then that means that if the United States has to go to war, the enemy's going to attack us when there's a snowstorm because the base closes. I said, no, it doesn't work that way. But she got a good point, right? The government was not prepared for the snowstorm. If you live in northern states, especially in North Dakota and South Dakota, when they have their winters, nothing closes. They just keep the roads open with snowplows and ice and salt, right? So anyway, that's Karina's first experience with snow. She'd never seen snow before. First time she'd ever seen snow. Touched it. So I took her for a walk around the neighborhood in a snowstorm. Double A, hey Diego, can I apply for a work permit before applying for the green card? No, you can't. And if I do after the marriage, for how long the work permit will be valid? 5 years. You cannot apply for the work permit before you apply for the green card. You don't apply for these documents separately. You have to apply together. If you want a work permit, that's good. But you got to apply for the work permit with your green card application at the same time. And you got to pay for it at the same time in a check or a cashier's check. Don't use a credit card. Do not use a credit card to pay for your green card application or your K-1 visa application. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can use your credit card to pay for the consular fee if you want at the embassy. It's $265, I believe, something like that. But you can pay the consular fee with a credit card, but don't pay for the green card or the K-1 visa with a credit card. Don't do it. So the question is, can I apply for my work permit before applying for the green card? The answer is no. You have to apply for the work permit and the green card in the same package. If I do, After marriage, for how long will the work permit be valid? If you apply for the work permit with your green card application, which you must do, you're gonna get the work permit first, and it's going to be valid for 5 years. Okay, you're going to have a 5-year green card, a 5-year work permit, and then you wait for the green card, which is going to be valid for 2 years. Okay, and then 3 months before your 2-year green card expires, within 3 months before it expires, you lift the conditions off the 2-year green card and apply for the 10-year green card. So let's put mega pixie dust all over AA so you can understand what I'm saying, and a Mountain Dew salute to everybody that's getting ready to fly to the United States. We welcome you. And if you're coming to Florida, South Florida, in Miami, Key West, down there, there's not the climate's pretty good. The weather's not too bad. But up here in the Panhandle, it sucks. We are just waiting for the snow to melt. Now, I drove. Karina has her Florida driver's license. She knows how to drive, but I drove her to work because not only has she never seen snow before, she's never driven in snow before. So I took her to work, and I will go pick her up from work when she gets done. It's crazy. I hope we never have any snow like this ever again, ever. If this happens again next year, I'm gonna move somewhere else where it doesn't snow. I'm serious, in the United States, obviously. So AA, do you understand what I just said? When you apply for your green card, you must apply for the work permit. AA, my wife's tax return was $18,000 last year. Should we find a joint sponsor? Yes. No, money in the bank isn't going to help. If they look at income. And now, if you got $1 million of cash in the bank, or $150,000, $250,000, $300,000 cash in the bank, that is more than enough money to live on while your beneficiary gets established in the United States. So then I would say, probably you'll be okay. But I don't know what your financial situation is, but I'm going to say if your wife makes $18,000 a year, you need to get a joint sponsor before you file for the green card. Got to do it. The minimum income for a family of 2 is $25,500 and something dollars, right in there, as of January 24th, 2025. But that's going to be more in March of 2025. In March, there's going to be a new calculation because of inflation created by Bidenomics. The Biden administration totally decimated our economy with their insane spending, and that Congress too. It's not just Biden, it's the Congress can be blamed too. The inflation was crazy. So the only people that benefited from high inflation was people on Social Security who got a pay raise or military retirement. Okay. But in March of 2025, the pay scales are going to go up. All right. You're going to have to make more money in order to qualify for the K1 and the green card starting in March of 2025. And you're hearing it here first on this channel, right? That's why you guys are here. You're getting all the inside information first before anybody else. Let me see here. So $18,000, okay, if you guys are good with that, living on that, it's fine. But immigration is not going to be good with that. They're going to want to see at least 30. If you're a family of 2, they're going to want to see at least $30,000 to $35,000 a year for a family of 2 to qualify. So if you can't get to up to $35,000 a year with a joint sponsor, you're going to have to get 2 joint sponsors. So my parents-in-law got to do the sponsoring again. Yeah, they got to do it again. But the good news is this: you can tell your parents-in-law, listen, I appreciate you sponsoring my family for the second time, but soon, my beneficiary is going to be working, right? And income's going to be flowing because you're going to be a 2-income family. And then in 2026, when you file your 2025 tax return, your income's going to be way above $30,000 a year, right? Immigration are looking at also the long term. They want to make sure your beneficiary is not going to be a public charge. In other words, depending on the government. Although President Biden pretty much put everybody on public charge who entered the country illegally, giving them free Medicare and hotel rooms and a freaking credit card for their basic expenses. So my tax money was funding illegal immigrants. I mean, I'm serious. I don't see how anybody with the right mind, okay, would take your money and my money and give it to somebody who's in this country illegally. Can you imagine if the Colombian citizens found out that I was living in Colombia, living the high life in Cartagena, and they were funding my freaking hotel and my food and my medical? There'd be a civil war. Why in America did that happen? Trump is fixing all that crap. If you want to come to the United States, come here legally. Go through the process like you guys, like we did. Follow the paperwork. Double A, yeah, I swear you helped a lot till I got to the US. Huge thank you to you and Karina. Well, I hope I help you when you're in the United States too. I didn't want to just help you get your beneficiary to the United States, which I'm glad we did help you do that. I'm glad the videos helped you and the live streams I'm glad they helped you. But now you're in the United States with your beneficiary. Let's get to the green card process. Okay? You got to get a joint sponsor or two. You can get up to two. But remember this, when you get a joint sponsor, you, Mr. Sponsor, have to fill out I-864, the affidavit of support. The joint sponsor has to fill out I-864. You got to have two I-864s. You got to have two tax returns, from two separate tax returns from two different people, W-2s, pay stubs. I'm still waiting for Karina's W-2. She started work last summer here in Florida, so she's going to get a W-2. And then we're going to sit down right here at this computer, and I'm going to teach her how to file a tax return with the federal government. I'm not a CPA, okay, but I do my own taxes. I've been doing my own taxes for 40 freaking years plus, okay? I don't need to go to some company and have them fill out my freaking 1040. It's easy to do. So I'm going to teach Karina how to do it. Karina has a degree in tax accounting. Now, Karina's my wife from Venezuela. She has a degree in tax accounting, so it's easy for her to do this. She'll learn how to do this in a second, okay? So in the future, I'm going to have her fill out the taxes. Obviously, we're going to be a joint couple. We're going to file jointly, but she needs to learn how to do this. You got to teach your beneficiaries how to do this stuff, right? Vimy Lawler. Oh, wait a second. Terrence. She got her visa already, which she went to Lagos to get, but I traveled to Nigeria after she got her visa so we can travel back to America together, right? We're currently based in Abuja, Nigeria. A salute to everybody in Abuja. Did I say that correctly? Abuja, Nigeria. And to Terrence and his bride, beautiful bride. To be. I would love to take Karina to Nigeria. I've never been there. But we're not leaving the country, America, until she's a U.S. citizen. When Karina has a U.S. passport in her hand, then we're going to travel. But when Karina goes to her citizenship interview with immigration in probably Montgomery, Alabama, if we're still here, they're going to ask her, have you ever left? The first question they're going to ask, have you ever left the United States? She's going to say, no, I have never once left the United States. I have been on U.S. soil since the day I landed on January 3rd, 2024. And they go, okay, check. You don't want to be in a position where you go for your U.S. citizenship interview and you went back to Australia for 6 months or 5 months, and then don't be surprised if your U.S. citizenship gets denied because we're not a continual resident in the United States. But I'm not saying you can't take a vacation. You can take a 2-week vacation. Well, yeah, I went to the Philippines for 2 weeks to see grandma. Okay, no problem. Or you can say, no, I went to India for 5 months to see grandma, and that's a problem. That's a big problem. You can probably, if you don't get your green card blocked trying to re-enter the United States after being gone for 5 or 6 months, it's a possibility, you're not going to get U.S. citizenship. You got to be a legal permanent resident. What does it mean? What does it mean to be a legal permanent resident? It means you live in America. This is your home. The green card is not a visa to travel back and forth to different countries. The green card is issued for you to live and work in America. That's it. That's what it's used for, to live and work in the United States. It's not a visa to travel between countries. People forget that. I got my green card. Now I can go back to England for a year and go spend time with my friends. No, it doesn't work that way. Let me see here. Vimy Lawler, I think my medical exam expired. I came before 6 months. How about my green card? Do I need to redo? Vimy Lawler, if your medical exam expired, have you already applied for your green card? If you got, did you get a medical exam in the United States of America for your green card? Vimy Lawler, re-educate me on where you are. I cannot answer your question until I know the answer to this question. I came where? Here, America, before 6 months? If you are in the United States, have you applied for your green card, Vimy? Well, if you did, then you're good. You got nothing to worry about. You're fine. You don't have to redo anything. If you've already applied for your green card and you didn't get an RFE for the medical, you're good. You're good to go, Vimy. Chris and Emma still have to get the USCIS medical exams again for the 2-year green card. Yes, you do. Misleading about Trump updates. There's nothing misleading about Trump updates. It's easy. Okay? There's no misleading. You don't need a COVID vaccination for a green card application. You don't need a COVID vaccination for a K-1 visa interview. That's it. You do need a medical exam when you get to America, and you need to recertify your vaccinations. You just don't need COVID. That's so easy. How about that? To unconfuse everybody. Double A. I am so bored, I just want to be able to work as soon as possible. Karina was the same way. She was here. My wife has been working since she was 14 years old, doing something. And she was in the United States waiting for her green card, waiting for her work permit. So I kept her busy. You got to keep. What did we do? I started her on lessons to learn how to drive a car. I was the professor. I took her into a church parking lot and taught her how to drive. I went up on my friend's farm. I showed her around the neighborhood. I gave her a tour of Walmart, Publix, Kmart, Winn-Dixie. There's no Kmart. I don't think it was one. Winn-Dixie is what I meant to say. I took her to all these different places in this area, so she wasn't bored. There's nothing misleading about Trump updates other than you don't have to have a COVID vaccination. It's easy. Double A, you're bored, then you just got to find stuff to do. MB, good day, Diego. My wife came last year and didn't start work yet. Can we still file a joint tax return? Yes, yes. You can file a joint tax return. She doesn't have to work. She can be a stay-at-home mom or a housekeeper, whatever you want. What do you call it? Stay-at-home mom or a homemaker. When you come to America, okay, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary, you don't have to get a job. But it's advisable if you can, because then you start paying into Social Security tax and Medicare tax. You start paying FICA tax. And that goes towards your Social Security retirement in the future. Okay? But if you come to America and you don't, and let's suppose for the first year you don't work with your US citizen sponsor, he works or she works, and you don't work, you still got to file a joint tax return. You're going to be, the US citizen's name's going to be here on the 1040, your name's going to be here, Social Security numbers here and here, and the income and everything's going to be over here. You don't have to work, but you do have to file a joint tax return if you want to become a U.S. citizen or get your 10-year green card. So MB, yes, file a joint tax return. Chris and Emma, I know it's easy. I'm misunderstanding it for what it says. Well, then don't read that. Just let me uncomplicate it. Remember, when Trump calls the CDC up and tells them no more COVID vaccinations for green cards for immigrants, The US government's going to write it in such a way that you have to have a freaking PhD in something to understand it. So if you come on the channel, I explain it in terms that we normal Americans can understand. Okay? That's why, I try to discombobulate. The USCIS way of doing stuff is complicated. That's why people hire immigration attorneys. Oh my goodness, I can't do this. It's too complicated. But then I created this channel because my wife Karina asked me to. In Colombia, I was in Villa de Leyva, Colombia, with Karina on vacation, trying to avoid Bogota because of the climate and the high altitude. And she said, "Mate, make an immigration channel." So I did. I started doing live streams in Colombia with Karina back in 2023. So I make it so easy for you to understand. If you want me to help you step by step fill out a K-1 visa package, I will. Or a green card, 2-year green card. I'll help you step by step. Instead of spending $4,000 or $5,000 on an immigration attorney, use that money for a vacation together, your honeymoon, your wedding. Put the money in the bank for a future trip back to wherever your beneficiary came from. I'm hoping that President Trump helps the dictator of Venezuela leave Venezuela. Look at what happens to a country when the freaking president is a communist. Let's take Colombia right now, for example. Colombia, the president of Colombia is a communist. Before him was a conservative Republican, Duque. Now we got Petro, this communist. And the country is turning back into turmoil. The west coast of Colombia, up in the north in the jungles, there's a full-scale war going on, okay? And then Petro, the communist from Colombia, is asking Maduro, the communist from Venezuela, "Can you help me, please, with this insurgency on the west coast of Colombia?" The Colombian people, in their right mind, have figured out that Petro's an idiot, and he's not going to get. They're not going to hire another communist as president in the 2026 election. I was in Colombia during the Colombian elections when Petro was elected. There was helicopters flying over our apartment. There were troops in the streets. The supermarkets boarded up all their windows because they were scared of something. But it was a very peaceful election. And then within a week or two of Petro being elected president of Colombia, he said, we need to stop drilling for oil and selling oil. And everybody went, what? The economy of Colombia runs on the sale of export of oil and gas, and emeralds, and all, and technology, and the taxi drivers across Colombia said, wait a second, if we stop drilling for oil in Colombia, the price of gas in Colombia is going to double. And it did. Not that because Petro stopped the drilling of oil, he didn't. They didn't stop. The Congress blocked Petro from stopping drilling for oil. But because of his freaking words, the price of gas started to skyrocket in Colombia. So all the taxi drivers in Cartagena went on strike. They said, hey, Petro, we want gas back at $1.95 a gallon, not freaking $4 or $5 a gallon, or whatever it was. And I was in Colombia, and I was watching the price of gas go up and up and up as soon as Petro got elected. And now he's begging Venezuela for help because of the insurgencies in the western parts of Colombia. So Petro is going to be done. They're going to hire another Republican for office at the next election in Colombia, and Trump needs to help Maduro leave Venezuela. Now, Maduro, the dictator of Venezuela, he came out yesterday, I think it was, and said, I'm looking forward to working with the new president of the United States. Congratulations, President Trump. And let me tell you something. President Trump does not like Maduro. He doesn't like communists. And Maduro knows that. Petro's no big deal to Trump because you can only be a one-term president in Colombia. You only get 4 years as president, and then you got to go and step aside. But in Venezuela, this freaking communist has got his third term as a dictator, and he didn't win the election. It was a massive fraud, which was proved by the election paperwork that was printed out and brought to Panama. So when Maduro says he wants to work with Trump, Trump is laughing. Okay? Because there's no way Trump's going to work with that dictator other than help him leave the country and go find someplace else to live. Anyway, let's see what we got going on here. Chris and Emma, I know it's easy. I misunderstood it. I just uncomplicated it for you. Vimy Lawler, I did my medical exam in the United Kingdom, then came to the United States before the 6 months expired, but now I'm trying to apply for my green card. Well, then you got to repeat your medical exam, but not until my Social Security card comes back. I don't know if I need to redo. You need to redo your medical exam, Vimy. So wherever you live in the United States of America, Vimy, listen, wherever you live in America, what state you live in, I don't know, but you got to find a civil surgeon approved by the U.S. government, and you must redo your medical exam and recertify your vaccination certificate with a civil surgeon. And then the civil surgeon in wherever you live, you can find somebody. Karina redid her medical exam. Okay, we found a doctor in right here in another city over. We found a doctor. You got to redo your medical exam, Vimy, and you got to have a civil surgeon re-sign the paperwork, the 693, and recertify your vaccination records. And that has to go in your green card application. If you don't do that, you're going to get either a request for further evidence or an NOID, which is a notice of intent for denial. You live in New York State. Okay, well, that's a big place. New York State is huge. But whatever city you live in, you can easily find a civil surgeon authorized by the U.S. State Department to give green card medical exams. So here's what I would do, Vimy. I would go onto Google or Microsoft, whatever you use for your internet search, and look for, type in there, USCIS Civil Surgeon, New York or New York State. Type it in. And a bunch of names you're going to find a bunch of doctors who are authorized by the State Department to give medical exams in America. In New York State. And then you cannot use your health insurance provider. I couldn't use my military health insurance for Karina to get her medical exam done for the green card. We had to go to a civil surgeon that the State Department said is okay. Okay, you got it? All right, Vimy, you got the last word. I hope it helped you guys today. I hope it was information that was useful. The next live stream will be on Friday, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Time with Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela. She's currently at work. I'm going to go pick her up because of all the bad road conditions and the snow out there. So I will get her from work. And we will see you tomorrow if you want to join us at 6 p.m. Central Time. Thanks for stopping by. And be patient during this process. Relax. Don't stress it. And if you need me to help you from point A to point Z on a green card application or a K-1 visa application, I will help you. And it didn't cost you a penny, right? See you guys tomorrow.